Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to live stream action down here at Women's League Day. We're with the Auckland Rugby League and we're going to be live streaming a number of matches today here from Cornwall Park. So if you have nothing on today, come down and join us. It's going to be a fantastic day and you'll be able to see a lot of talent in regards to Women in League. My name's Troy Hardy and I'm with the Auckland Rugby League, and sitting alongside me is Patrice Kesh. That was a mouthful. And we've just kidnapped her before the first live streaming match. And Patrice, let's just talk a wee bit around your role and what you do inside Rugby League with the Warriors.
Sure, so I'm the Community Relations Manager at the Warriors, which basically means I have the coolest job in the world because I get to do all the really good fun stuff, stuff at grassroots level. I also get to be involved with schools, promoting our education programs and basically using Rugby League as a tool to help education be much more fun. So yeah, it's a great job. I love it. I've been doing it for 10 years now. And the Warriors, I've seen so many changes, particularly in women's roles within the game. We have probably, I would say, 50% of our staff now at the Warriors would be female, with positions like mine in community relations. We've got Georgia, who also works with me in community. Our membership team is pretty much all female, as well as our accounts team. We've also got Bridie, who's our NRL performance analysis analyst. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, and we've also had female physios. We've got Carmen, who works in football ops. We've had Nards there before, working in football administration. So, I think the growth and participation of women in league at the highest levels is just something that's getting stronger and stronger. And so to be able to be involved today at a grassroots level, refereeing the under-17 girls in their pilot competition, is just amazing for me. I mean, it's totally a dream come true to see women really participating in such a big way. There's plenty of us out here today. I think we've got 10 women who are now in the Referees Association, and most of them will be on display today. So I'm really excited about being here today. And it's so great to see that the weather's kind of helping us out at the moment.
Now look, the name Kesha, that's a famous name. Neville Kesha, a Carlo Park die-hard referee and, a legend in the game. Your husband, Aaron. The name Kesha in regards to, being a wife and sort of married into the family. Were you always going to be a referee? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I was actually a referee long before I met Aaron. I've been refereeing since I was about 17, 18, and that's a long time, that's all I'm going to say. So yeah, it's and for me the whole thing around refereeing was I actually wanted to be a coach. So I decided that if I was going to be a coach, I needed to know all of the rules. I needed to know exactly what was going on out on the field, and I decided to do a year of refereeing before I went off coaching. And I just loved refereeing and being involved in the game and out on the field so much that my coaching career never took off. So, and here I am still today running around on the paddock, enjoying rugby league.
Sorry, love. I was going to say, so obviously being in the rugby league space, how did you manage to land the dream job with the Warriors? How did that come about?
Yes, so I went to university as a mature student. My first marriage had broken down. I had a young daughter and I was back living with my mum and dad, and it was actually my mum. So we were watching sort of news one night and there was sort of some bad stuff going on around rugby league and that, and I sort of got on my soapbox and was having a bit of a whinge. And so my mum said, well, if I wanted to see things change, then I should be the change I wanted to see. So I... you
got to love the mum.
Got to love mums. Well, mums are the best, I mean, again, women involvement in league, And so I went to university and did myself a sport business management degree. And sort of from there I did a full year interning with the Warriors, which basically meant that I worked for them for free for a whole year. But I wanted to learn, I wanted to sort of know everything that was going on, and it was just great timing for me because at the end of that the under-20s competition started, and so along with the under-20s competition came a couple of opportunities for roles there. And so having already been there, having shown them my work ethic and my passion for rugby league, I think it definitely helped me land that job.
Awesome. Well, look, Patrice, I know that we've kidnapped you before you actually get out into the centre of today's game, so we'll be filming you live, no pressure. And we hope you have a great day today. Thank you very much for your time and being able to spend, here in the ARL studios talking before the match that you're going to referee today. Cheers, love.
Great, thanks very much.
Awesome. Okay, well, stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a big day ahead, and shortly I'm going to be throwing to Corey Rosser, who's my best mate, and the Corey the Caller, who's going to be sharing today down here with the live league stream. We're going to be on the Auckland website, aucklandleague.co.nz, and we're going to be now organised for Corey. And as we do, we've got a big game coming up also in next week's live league match of the round, where Point Chevalier Pirates are going to be up against the Mount Albert Lions, and we'll be live streaming that game at 2 o'clock. Next Saturday, we're going to be at the home of the Lions at Fowles Park, and that's going to be a massive clash as the team at the top of the table will be coming into having a strong match against the Mount Albert Lions, who are still sitting in 4. And at 4, they had a tough day in the office yesterday against the Mangere East Hawks, who are sponsored by Burger King, and they managed to come back, and they did a pretty good job there in regards to securing the win with the last few minutes. As Corey's sort of joining us now into the studio and getting ready. Good to see you, Corey.
Thanks, Troy. And yeah, you mentioned yesterday's game, a really good game out there, and you know, one which results later revealed could be a pretty significant one, with Te Atatū having a massive, I think it was 40 points to 12 victory over Marist. So certainly a big game out there yesterday at Walter Massey Park, and looking forward to next week's game. But first of all, the big one today is the Women in League Day, and we are now going to be joined by Mary from the Auckland Rugby League, Football Development Officer. Mary, thanks for joining us. So I guess the first one is days like this are fantastic for the women's game, but tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that goes on throughout the year in terms of competitions you run for girls and that sort of thing.
So this new youth grade that we've got, 15-17s, is a good bridge for those age gaps that the girls that can't play from under 12s open to the ladies. They're really enjoying it. I've been out to a few trainings and a few games, and there's some real good quality football out there played by these girls.
And you run primary and intermediate competitions throughout the year. What are the sort of numbers like in terms of girls wanting to play the sport at those younger ages?
So we had our primary champs of champs on Tuesday, and there were 3 full squad girls teams. But with our primary, we pretty much mix, so it's still mini-mod and girls can play with the boys. But so for next year, we'll be probably having a girls separate competition as well as the boys. So the numbers are pretty good at the moment.
And there's a real push, I guess, in the past. Maybe there's been an inference that women's role in the game is through admin. There's very much a push away from that now and trying to get women involved not only as players but coaches, referees and all that sort of thing. I know the ARL does a lot of stuff in terms of trying to attract coaches. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and are you getting good female numbers along to coaching clinics and that sort of thing?
Yep, so with this 15-17s pilot competition that we've got on, we ran a women-only coaching course for them, and we had about 8 ladies that have been playing rugby league, done the coaching, done the managing, but they've all signed up to be coaches and certified coaches now.
What are some of the, I guess, barriers that women might have, or the perceived barriers, I guess, in terms of coaching, and how do you go about trying to, I guess, break them down?
Oh, the barriers would probably be the influence outside, so most people would be like, well, she's a lady, but hey, ladies can do just as better and bigger things in the men, and they've shown us a lot of good stuff, so we're going to roll on this pilots to next year and see how we'll probably get good numbers next year. It's running quite well at the moment.
I think this competition, it started with, I think, 3 teams. It's increased to, I think, 6, so going really well by all points. Is it kind of tracking how you'd hoped?
Yeah, actually better than what I imagined. All the hard work is done by Caroline and Tash, so they've been out with all the other clubs and just promoting the 15-17s grades, and this is what we'll come out with, 6 teams in both grades. It's looking pretty good. All props to them and Pat and the ARL team.
And this competition is obviously one that runs, I guess, alongside the College Rugby League competition, and can kind of feed that. We've seen that kind of grow over the last few years. How's that looking for this year in terms of the Girls College Rugby League?
So this year we've changed it up. We're going to go with a 2-day tournament with the ladies. So the venue's Cornwall Park. If you haven't registered and you've got girls that are in high school, register on college sport. It's going to be at Cornwall Park. We'll have officials, everyone there, and we're looking out for a good 2 days.
And of course, if you are interested in getting involved as a player, a coach or a referee, all the information is available on the Auckland Rugby League website, or give someone from the FDD team a call or an email. I guess the big one today is, you know, we're going to see later on a lot of Kiwi Ferns on display.
Yeah.
This is kind of, I guess, the proven pathway for these girls, isn't it? Players like Georgia Hale, who's going to be joining us, also Serena Clark, formerly Serena Fiso. There's some real heroes on display later today.
Yeah, mate. We've got a good game coming up at 2 o'clock. We've got probably around 10 Kiwi Ferns playing each other today, so it'll be good. The last time I watched Richmond and Manurewa was down to the last 30 seconds, and Rio ran away with the win. So looking forward to see what today has in store for us.
And I guess from your point of view, how important are these Women in League rounds? We know that stuff goes on throughout the year, but how important is it to have days like this and obviously the live stream games today just to kind of raise that profile?
Oh, it's so important. Like, it's important for us to acknowledge these ladies. They're not only managers, coaches, mothers, babysitters and that, but they do a lot of work in the background, and we need to appreciate that and acknowledge all their hard work.
And that is one of the things that stands out, I guess. You know, a lot of these ladies are very good at a number of different sports. You know, we see boxers. I think there's even a kabaddi athlete that's going to be taking the field later on today. But a lot of the time also full-time mums. So the commitment, it's huge from these ladies.
Yeah, well, when you say there's not enough time in the world to do things, these ladies have found the time, and if they can do it, anyone else can.
Excellent. And just finally today, any prediction for the big Richmond-Manurewa game? You said it was a thriller last time. Is there you got a gut feeling on it?
I did have a gut feeling, but I'm a bit worried now, so I'm not going to say who I'm not or who's going to win. But hopefully, I'm going to have a happy smile at the end of the day. I'm not telling anyone who I've chosen, but good luck to the ladies today and the girls that are out there.
And of course, we are all very neutral here in the ARL studios. Mary, thanks for joining us and enjoy the rest of the day.
You too, Corey. Thanks, guys. See you down at Cornwall.
Thanks to Mary for joining us, and really good there to get, I guess, a bit of an insight into some of the stuff that goes on at the Auckland Rugby League and some of the initiatives that go on in between play. And we touched briefly on, I guess, the influence of the female referees, and I believe there's about 10 female referees now in the Auckland Rugby League Referees Association. So we are now going to hear from Maxine a little bit about her role today and the role of women in the game in terms of match officiating. So over to you, Troy.
Thanks, Corey. And Maxine's joined us, and she's one of the ladies in league and in the refereeing, the Auckland Refereeing Association. Good to have you here today, Maxine.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about how did you get into refereeing? What drove you? How did that start? How old were you?
Well, I was in my late 20s when I went to watch one of the under-9s game, and I thought, you know, on a Saturday, thinking I can be a referee, so I decided to become a referee. I started off with mini and mods and then worked my way up. I thought it would be a challenge to actually get involved in the game.
Was there was it hard to find the Auckland Referees Association, and how did you do that?
It wasn't hard. It was because I had a lot of contact, because I was with the Ponsonby Rugby League, Girl Ponsonby, and so from there I met up with John McEwen, and often now and again they don't have any referees to ref some of the under-20s games. So at one time I was watching.
Hang on a sec, love. Hang on. Oh, he's going to come around the backside. Just come in front, Corey. That's good, mate. Join us. No, come around the front. There we go. Awesome, mate. Well done. Sorry, Maxine.
That's all right. So I was at Ponsonby one afternoon and there was no referee for the under-20s, so I decided to go and help them out and ref the game. And that's when John McEwen asked me if I would like to join the association and become a referee to ref games on the weekend.
So, and what's the progression? Do you start with mini and mods, and do you start in the centre, or do you start as a linesman, and then how do you progress your way up? And what's the big goal that you're wanting to achieve being a referee, being a woman's referee?
I started in the middle for the mini and mods, and then from there, when I joined the association, I was put right in the middle. So there was no, yes, we would go through the rules every Tuesday. We go there, and John McEwen would take us through the rules to make sure we understand. But there's no time for us to actually, you know, no time for us to actually, we have to get in the middle and actually remember the rules and referee, because there were hardly any referees at that time. The goal was to one day, you know, be good at reffing, and I think because of my age, I'm not going to make the NRL, but, you know, I'd love to be if I was in my 20s and do it all over again, I would become a referee in a heartbeat.
So look, you know, for any young lady, girl that's out there who's wanting to be a referee, what advice would you give her in regards to, you know, making that happen?
Why would you? No, kidding. Well, you know, being a referee, it gives you time to, you know, learn something new and actually involve in the game. If you love rugby league and you want a challenge, why not become a referee?
You know, now with all this knowledge, you know, you're being a referee, and you know, I've seen you in senior games, I've seen you in junior games, and what have you. What's it like when you're at home watching an NRL game and you're sitting next to, and I'll call him Bugs just for the people out there, when you're sitting next to Bugs and you're giving him advice in regards to the referee's behaviour and how good that person is in the centre of the match, in the centre of that game?
It's quite interesting because he actually attended some of the coaching the rules with me, and as a player he sort of understand where the referees and the rules and what the calls are. So we don't really have a lot of fights or debating the rules. Yeah, so we debate some of the calls that in NRL, but at the end of the game, the referee's got so many seconds to make that decision on what they see. I mean, we have how many referees every Saturday, but there's at the end of the day, there's only one ref.
And look, in being a referee, it's obviously pretty tough. You guys volunteer a lot of your personal time, and I know that a lot of you do training as well. And for all that effort, you turn up, and we've got to love the referees, because I know that they're not always loved in regards to some of the calls that they get, they have to make during a match. How tough is it, when you're getting sort of guidance and feedback from the sideline? Do you just switch off from that?
You do, and you have to, because if you start listening to people, you're not going to have a good game. So the best thing to do is switch off, concentrate on the game and the team, and ref the best you can.
Well, look, finally, my last question for you today, and that is, which game are you officiating in, and what's your role today? Do you know? I saw that.
I don't. I know I'm reffing a game today, later on. However, I'm actually running Patrice line the next game.
Okay, well that sounds like the horn's just gone on that game. I want to thank Maxine for joining us, and much love to her and the family in regards to allowing her to dedicate her time to train and to be involved not just with the kids in sport but also with the senior guys. We're going to look to bring Corey back in now, and thanks Maxine, have a great day today. Cheers, love. Okay, and as we wait for that to happen, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we are live streaming next weekend, 2 o'clock on the ARL website. Come through on the link, aucklandleague.co.nz. Point Chevalier Pirates, mate, up against Mount Albert. Good to have Corey the caller back, and we're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I can't wait. I guess the biggest rivalry really in modern day Auckland Rugby League, we look at the past and rivalries like Otahu and Mount Albert, but in terms of the last kind of 5 years, 6 years, it's been all about Mount Albert and Point Chev. So really looking forward to that one. Point Chev right up there at the top, and Mount Albert had a good win yesterday as well. So that's going to be a really good game. And of course, yesterday's game was a really good one as well. We saw Mount Albert in action. Probably didn't really put Mangere away as they would have hoped, and I think there was probably a feeling that there's a lot of improvement in them from that one. But look, it's going to be a good one, and we're getting to crunch time really in the Fox, aren't we? It's
absolutely, yeah. And I think Mount Albert made it a little bit tough for them yesterday. The Burger King Hawks came back and they were putting them under pressure there in that second half. And then with about 10-12 minutes to go, I think, mate, they had somebody put in the bin. And at that point, that was when the Mount Albert sort of got the roll over the top. One thing around the Mount Albert personnel, they're a smaller side this year, so I think that's sort of putting them under a wee bit of pressure, mate. And Buzz, Dion, this looked like he's going to progress to the front row, and I know he's looking forward to that because he was enjoying himself playing out in the centres, as you do.
That's never a good sign when you get moved from the edge into the middle, is it? That perhaps suggests something about your age, I would think, and maybe. But look, a player like Dion, he's obviously such a brutal force on the edges in the middle of the park. If you can get him more involved and bring him there, so an interesting move from Mount Albert. Like you say, they probably are lacking a little bit of size, although the Piscini boys had a really good game, I thought, yesterday in the middle of the park for Mount Albert, and also their captain, Marcus Fraser. They've got the, I guess, benefit of being able to bring their captain and a very fine player in Marcus Fraser off the bench, and he changed that game yesterday.
He did, yeah, and I think we mentioned that during the call, like unusual, I suppose, when they're changing things up to, bring him on as an impact player. But certainly when he got into the ruck, their whole structure changed, and they certainly stepped up a gear. As we turn our attention to the Point Chevalier Mount Albert game, mate, what's your first thoughts around that match?
Well, I think it's, there's a couple of really interesting matchups between some experienced guys and guys that have been around the Fox a while. You look at the battle at dummy half, Tavita Latu up against Marcus Fraser, I think promises to be a pretty interesting one. Also some of the clashes in the middle, I think you have Dylan Moses up against Joseph Price. It's probably Dylan Moses, probably the best lock forward, to be fair, in this competition for the last 5 or 6 years, and then Joseph Price, who I think all the signs so far point to the fact that he's going to be the next best. He was excellent yesterday with his footwork at the line. So lots of really intriguing individual matchups there. And look, I guess you can't beat a good rivalry game. And luckily we are going to be streaming a few of them as the season goes on, as we get towards the finals. So really looking forward to that one. And what we will do now is we'll get our cameraman to cut to back to the field and watch a little bit of the action, and we'll read you through some of the results from yesterday's SAS Fox Memorial Premiership matches and the Crown of Trucks Sharman Cup. And so just having a little look at some of those SAS Fox Memorial Premiership results now, as we take a look at the field with the teams getting ready to head onto the field for the next game. The next game we are going to see is Richmond up against Otara in the under-17s, and we will be live streaming that one very shortly, be joined by Georgia Hale and Maddie Bartlett from the Kiwi Ferns, so looking forward to that and getting some expert analysis from those ladies. But a look at the results yesterday, and a big one. Howick second on the table going into round 13, a big 50-16 victory over Richmond, and that was at Greyland Park. So Howick really on fire this year. A couple of guys really firing for them. King Vuni Ayawa playing some really good football, and also Gibson Popolai on the wing as well, playing some really good footy. So the Root Rooster, the Conaka Minolta Root Rooster, Glenora had a big victory, 30-0 over Papakura. Papakura, of course, remembering, are the defending champions of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. So that was a huge result for Glenora, and again, particularly some of the big boys, I guess, out at Glenora really starting to stand up this year, the likes of Swape Kavaliku. They got Eplahami Luaki, of course, a former New Zealand and Matima Tonga representative. He's playing some great footy there as well. Looking to the third game, Te Atatū had a massive win, 40-12 over Maris, and that's huge for Te Atatū. It takes them off the bottom of the ladder, takes them out of that immediate relegation threat, so a huge win for Revel Neal's side out there at Jack Colvin Park. Point Chevalier took on Northcote. Northcote going into that one on a 3-game winning streak, but Point Chevalier too classy on that occasion, winning 34-16 over the Tigers. And the final game was our live stream game yesterday, Mangere East getting overrun by Mount Albert, 30-14. And Mangere East, they were right in that game until probably the final 20 minutes there. They had a player sin binned, and probably just some of the defensive workload that they had to carry in that game started to tell a little bit in those closing exchanges, but it was a pretty classy finish from the Mount Albert Lions. Moving to the Crown of Trucks Sharman Cup, the second division, and Ellerslie had a big win, a rare win for them this year. It's been a tough old season for Ellerslie, struggling a little for playing numbers, but they had a victory over Papatoetoe, 28-24. Bay Roskill got up for a big win over local rivals New Lynn, 42-18. And Ponsonby continued their excellent run near the top of the ladder, beating Manurewa 41-28. The big one was the top of the table clash, so Otahu, previously unbeaten so far this year, got upset by Southside neighbours, the Otara Scorpions. It was 34-24, and that's in the Premiership division, so the top tier of the second division Sharman Cup. And in the plate, the second tier part of it, Pakuranga got beaten 30-18 by East Coast Bays. Waitemata edged past Manukau 16-10, and Hibiscus Coast had the bye. So that is your wrap of the Premiership action in the Auckland Rugby League. We're very shortly going to cut to our first live stream game of the day between the Otara Scorpions and Richmond Bulldogs, and we are going to be joined by Georgia Hale and Maddie Bartlett from the Kiwi Ferns, which is going to be really good. Get a little bit of expert analysis from the ladies in terms of this one. Of course, Georgia will be in action later on today when Richmond take on Manurewa. So we'll be back in a minute with our first live stream of the day in the under-17s match between Otara and Richmond.
So as everyone's just joined us, make sure that you stay tuned. We've got two fabulous guest stars arriving in with Corey. Right, you're on. So you're back with us, Corey?
Yeah, we're good to go. So we're just minutes away from kick-off in this one. And what we're going to do in this game, rather than, I guess, a full play-by-play commentary, we'll keep an eye on the game a little bit, but mostly take advantage of the fact that we've got a couple of expert opinions here, which we can interview. So starting off with Georgia, I guess you're going to be in action later on today. Huge clash for you guys between probably the two best women's teams running around in New Zealand right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really looking forward to it. I think the Savo is going to be a really good clash. It generally is between us and Rewa, and just hoping to come away with the win. In our last meet, we have closed the gap a little bit, so I'm hoping to come away with the win this afternoon.
Excellent. And Maddie, you won't be playing. Of course, suffered an injury. Just tell us a little bit about when that happened, what's happened. We see you are in the sling as well, so just tell us a little bit about that.
It was actually after the hooter of the final of Nationals against Counties. It was when they scored their last try. It was just an unfortunate fall, and another player fell on me, and I've broken my collarbone, but that's been 5 weeks, so I've got another x-ray tomorrow, and hopefully the sling comes off tomorrow, and then hopefully only about 3 more weeks till I can be back out in the field.
And I guess there's a little bit of pressure on, given it's a World Cup year and you are pushing to be included in that New Zealand team. It must be pretty frustrating to be sat on the sideline and I guess not able to show what you got right now.
Yes, it does suck a little bit, but I mean, we've got great physios and the girls are really supportive, so I can still do lots of stuff in the gym. I've just started doing a little bit of running again, so it's not been too bad, I guess. I only had about 2 weeks where I couldn't do absolutely nothing, so it's not been too bad.
Excellent. And just on the World Cup prep, I guess, Georgia, I know that you guys will probably be getting together every couple of weeks or something, or maybe even every week right now. What's the prep like right now with the Kiwi Ferns girls?
So at the moment, you know, our squad is stretched over New Zealand, so us Auckland-based girls, we meet twice a week, once in the gym and once on the field, with requirements obviously to do extra work, and that's the same for our girls down the line in kind of that Hamilton area and down in Christchurch. They're coming together and doing their work, so we're all staying on the same page. As we get closer to World Cup, we'll build in, our trainings will increase, and our focus will change a little bit just as we prep. But yeah, it's, you know, we've got a bit of time till World Cup, so you know, we're not rushing into things, we're just being patient and kind of letting the prep unfold.
And I guess it's kind of hard because you've got your club commitments, so you guys must train a couple of times during the week with the club and then play on the Sunday. So when do you fit in the Kiwi Ferns training?
Yeah, so at the moment, most of us girls, we're not really having any days off. It's pretty hectic. You know, even back when we were playing Akarana, you know, our timetable was even more hectic. But now, yeah, just balancing our club footy, our trainings and our games on Sunday, and in between that, fitting in our extras and our Kiwi Ferns training. So, yeah, really busy with league at the moment.
And Maddie, I guess one of the big advantages the Gillaroos probably have over the Kiwi Ferns is that they're kind of centralised in terms of their playing group, mostly in the kind of New South Wales area. How much of a challenge is it trying to incorporate the girls from Christchurch and all that and kind of get together on game day? I know you're only new to the squad, but how much of a challenge is that?
I guess being based in Auckland, we're pretty lucky because we get to train all that time with the girls. But the girls that are based down in Christchurch, they have our assistant coach living down there as well. So that means that our coach can pass on information to them. So they're not out of the loop completely, and they get to come up to our camps and stuff. So I guess it's about us all working together to make sure it is as good as possible, and we utilise the time when they are up here. And if they're putting in the work that we are doing up here, then I'm sure everything will be fine.
Yeah, and I guess always a bit of a test to get that self-motivation, I guess, and keep going when, you know, maybe there's not always someone watching you, so it's a huge test for the girls mentally, I guess, to keep that prep up.
Yeah, it's really cool though. We've got a Facebook page and everyone stays accountable on there. We're expected to be posting up our trainings on there, and all the girls are commenting and liking each other's posts, so it's pretty supportive and it's pretty cool. So you can see who is and isn't kind of doing what we're supposed to be doing, but everyone seems to be on the same page and everyone's posting up there, so it's real cool.
And for yourself, I think this was your first experience in the kind of Kiwi Ferns environment this year. What was it like?
It was pretty nerve-wracking to start with. Like, I mean, it's scary coming into a team where there's so much talent, but the girls are awesome and everyone's really supportive. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And it's pretty cool coming into a team where girls really do support each other. So no, it's been a wicked experience, and I loved going to trainings. I mean, I don't think a lot of people say that they like going to trainings, but I do. I really enjoy it, and the girls push each other, so it's heaps of fun.
Excellent. And we are now going to see your club's under-17 girls team in action. Do you guys sort of have much to do with them during the week? I imagine you probably occasionally attend a training session or offer a bit of advice?
Yeah, so some of our older Richmond girls pop down from time to time to help or just to see how the girls are going. But they've got a great coaching staff. They've got lots of support behind them, being you know, the first team to be the under-17s Richmond girls team. So kind of, you know, they've just been doing their own thing. We do see them training on a throughout the week, sorry, and no, they're looking really sharp. You'll see that they're quite a fit team, and they've got some strong heads that lead them across the park, so really excited to see what they do in this game.
Excellent. So we are underway here in the first of our 3 live stream games today, of course down here at the Auckland Rugby League Women in League Day. We'll later be bringing you Point Chev versus Manukau, and then the big one, the feature game for the day, Richmond up against Manurewa, where you will see Georgia in action. Unfortunately, Maddie out injured currently, but I guess as this game kind of goes on, we'll just ask a couple of questions now and kind of get both your thoughts on them, starting with Maddie. So I guess the first one, just tell us a little bit, I guess, on a day like this, how you got your start in rugby league and how old you were and kind of what the progression was for you.
I actually haven't been playing league that long, maybe a couple of years now. It was mainly actually through Georgia. She was in and amongst it before me, and we play a lot of other sports together, touch, tag, etc. And she said a couple of the older girls asked if we'd be keen to come down, and we were like, oh yeah, we're always up for a new challenge. So we decided, yeah, we'll come, and never looked back since then. It's been amazing, and I'd call it my favourite sport now.
And so roughly how old were you when you kind of got involved at first?
I think I would have been 19, about 19, yeah.
Okay.
I actually wish that I started earlier now. I wish we had this when we were younger. It would have been wicked. So it's a good opportunity for these girls, and I can't wait to see how they progress throughout the years.
And Georgia, for yourself, you've obviously got a bit of a family connection in rugby league as well, so was league always the game, or were you similar, a kind of late adopter to the game?
Yeah, very much late. I guess, just having no 15s or 17s grade, I knew there was a women's comp, but that was kind of it. Just grew up playing touch, tag, and a bit of schoolgirls rugby. And then when we, obviously you meet girls through those codes, and they played league, so, they told us to come down to Grayland Park and have a little run around, and from that moment we were hooked, and have loved our time at Richmond since. And just like Maddie had wished that, there was a grade like this for the 15s or 17s girls for us when we were kind of coming up through the grades, because it would have been great to start league at an earlier age.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of segues nicely into the next one about how important having competitions for these age groups is, because not every school, and in fact only a few schools in Auckland currently unfortunately offer women's league at college. But this is pretty important because it, I guess, gives you the opportunity to play anyway. So Maddie, how important is it to have these comps up and running and being successful?
I think it's really important. I mean, it's making a pathway for them to be able to come to the bigger grades like open age, where Georgia and I are playing at the moment. And with these grades, they're getting the skills early on. So, I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing that they get the opportunity to play this now.
And what sort of skills are you looking for, Georgia, in the girls kind of this age? Like, what are you looking to, I guess, make sure they're getting right at this age, those kind of key things?
I'd say just the fundamentals, pass, catch, play the ball, even just getting used to contact, because for a lot of girls, they've had a little bit of footy experience, but that contact is very new to them. So, just kind of getting their bodies used to like being conditioned like that, being hit or making hits. But yeah, I would say, you can't go wrong with the fundamentals. You can't train it enough. And, even for us older girls, when we play, even international, that's always a focus of ours.
And I can confirm it's starting to pelt down here at Cornwall Park in Auckland, as I think we've had our first try in this game. It looks like Richmond have gone in for the first one, kick to come. So, Maddie, you must be pretty happy you're not going to have to run out in this in a couple of hours' time.
Yes, I'll be hiding under this tent, that's for sure.
And I guess following on a little bit from the talk about the kind of, I guess, key skills that you need in the game, Maddie, as a late adopter to rugby league, what were the kind of things that you struggled with first, coming into rugby league?
Oh, definitely the contact. It's a big shock to the body, but you just, the more you do it, I guess, that's how it comes. I wouldn't say naturally, I'm still getting the hang of it, but working on it, yeah.
So Troy's just gate crashed in on the commentary crew here, and I don't know if we get the opportunity, but if the cameraman can pick up on our linesman that's on our side. This young lady is a fantastic result in regards to a woman in league, and she'll come into frame at some point during the course of the game. She's a young 10-year-old, and she's running the line today for this match, and just outstanding to see her out there in the rain running up and down with her little flag. Have you guys ever wanted to be a referee or a linesman?
No, I've always kind of just wanted to be a player. However, I do know this little young girl, her name's Imogen, and she's a massive league fan, and she plays rugby league for the Te Atatu Roosters. So I hope that she gets the opportunity to play in this 15s or 17s grade, because she's a little gun. She loves league.
There she is. She's on the screen now, ladies and gentlemen. That's Imogen.
I think she heard you. You can see that big smile on her face.
Awesome, just so glad to see. And Maddie, have you ever thought about being a referee? Because I understand you've got plenty of advice and you give it to them.
No way. No, I definitely have never thought of being a referee. Their job is so tough, and they get it left, right and centre from the players and coaches a lot of the time. But no, not for me. I'd rather stick to being a player.
Now, what position do you play, Maddie? Just pretend that I'm ignorant and I don't know.
I've been playing on the wing at the moment, but I train a little bit at fullback for the Kiwi Ferns. So yeah, wing, fullback.
when we had the interview with Georgia during the course of the week, she said that you'd broken a limb and was unhappy that you'd actually taken yourself out of the team. Her thoughts were at that time, just walk it off. So how much time do you have before your wing's all repaired and you're back into the game?
I'm up to the 5th week now of having the sling on. I've got an X-ray tomorrow and then hoping everything's all well. So 3 more weeks after that and hopefully be back out on the pitch, ready to get some games in before semis and finals.
Awesome, and Georgia said it'll probably take you 3 months to play yourself back into the team anyway. So Georgia, are you happy with what you're seeing here with the Richmond girls today?
Yeah, absolutely. I know a young girl in the Richmond side, Isla Norman-Bell, and she's an absolute star. I think she's playing halfback for the team, and she was the one to cross the line first. And she's doing really well in leading those big guns around the paddock.
This isn't the young lady you said was modelling herself on your game.
No, I don't think so.
Looks like Richmond are a smaller, swifter side out here in the heavy grounds as you're watching this league match being streamed live courtesy of the Auckland Rugby League, and Otara have the size. Do you think this is going to have an impact on the game as it starts to grind out?
Yeah, I think it might be a game of 2 halves. Otara have a lot of power going through the middle, but Richmond I know can last the full game, and they've got a lot of skill to this side. I know that Richmond, that was a great hit. I know that Richmond have come from a bit of a touch and tag background, so you know their kicks through the line and their passing across to Wit. Oh, second try for Isla.
Second try,
yeah, is really starting to show.
And it is getting really damp out here at the moment, so if you can't make it down here today, ladies and gentlemen, please get on the stream, courtesy of the Auckland Rugby League, aucklandleague.co.nz, and share, like, get some comments. Have you got any mums, dads, or aunties, uncles, cousins, girls, you know, listening to your live streaming today?
I honestly didn't actually tell anyone that I was doing it. Someone just said that they told my sister, and she was like, what? She didn't tell us that she was going on the live stream.
Awesome. And do you guys have a Facebook account, or is that sort of old school now and you've moved on to something new?
We do have Facebooks, but I prefer Instagram followers.
Oh, really? Okay. So it looks like that try was not awarded, and Patrice has brought them back, and we're getting ready to set play again. I'm going to bring Corey back into the commentary, and don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of games on for the rest of the week.
Really nice of you to stitch the girls up there, Troy, and encourage a bit of cyber stalking. But yeah, I'm sure the girls do have Instagram and possibly Twitter pages, which might be a little more appropriate to follow them. And of course, leading into the World Cup year, the girls will be kind of featuring quite heavily towards the back part of the year, with the World Cup being held over in Australia, and all the games I think going to be held at Southern Cross Stadium over there, the Cronulla Sharks home ground, which is pretty cool. So if you are in that neck of the woods, make sure you get down there, and you'll be able to watch teams from all around the world. England, I know, have been kind of big improvers and have put a lot more of a focus on their women's program the last couple of years. So it's not just going to be about New Zealand and Australia like it has been the last few years. Of course, Australia in 2013 winning the World Cup for the first time. It was actually one of the first tests the Kiwi Ferns have ever lost. So the girls with plenty of work to do, and I guess Georgia following on from, it's been a pretty tough year from a Kiwi Ferns point of view, because you lost the nines for the first time and then also losing the Anzac test. What's the kind of, I guess, morale like, because it's kind of a foreign situation for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in my short time with the Kiwi Ferns, you know, I've known them to have just great success from the time, you know, they've started to now, but yeah, we weren't very lucky this year. I guess it takes a little bit to, you know, be at the bottom. You learn a lot, and you know where you need to be to get to the top. We weren't where we wanted to finish at the nines or at the Anzac test, but you know, we've got a bit of time leading into the World Cup, so you know, hoping to just focus on those things that didn't work so well for us, and you know, make those improvements leading into the World Cup.
And Maddie, from your point of view, I mean, Australia have obviously improved so much. What's been the key kind of difference for them in the last year and a half, where they've really started to, I guess, get a bit of dominance over New Zealand? Tough question, I know.
Tough question.
We don't do the easy ones.
When I was watching the Anzac test, you could definitely tell that they were a very, very fit team. They did tough it out the whole game. Not to say that we weren't fit either. We are definitely improving on our fitness, but you could just tell that they were very fit, and they did execute the little things well. That maybe that's something that we needed to improve on. I think we did not execute a couple of tries that maybe let us down in that Anzac test. So yeah, if we just focus on the little things, I don't think it's a big difference between us and them, but yeah, we've just got a few things that we need to work on, but I think it's not a bad thing as such going into the World Cup. Probably not being the favourites. I mean, it's a lot of pressure going into the World Cup if you're favourites. So it'll be good for the girls just to go out there and, you know, just give it everything we've got.
And I guess, Georgia, the positive is, although you guys have had a few losses in recent times, you were kind of all over them at times in that Anzac test. It was just their defence was incredible. So it's not necessarily a case that you guys are playing badly?
Yeah, we definitely had our moments, but for us it's probably consistency and lasting that whole 80. You know, there were times that we switched off, and you know, you can't afford to do that at international level. So you know, hopefully this preparation, you know, getting a little bit fitter, match fitter, will help us, you know, come World Cup time.
And it kind of looks like, Maddie, that Australia are a team that's enjoying being together for, as we see here, a nice little overlap out on the left, and Otara have got the numbers here. But a nice one-on-one tackle initially just slows things down.
Held up.
And be held up just on the line, we think.
Great defence from Richmond there on the line.
And just on these girls, I mean, you obviously would know a couple of them personally. Who are the real kind of talents to watch out for in this one that you've seen kind of down at training? Is there a few that kind of stand out?
Definitely Isla. I've known her from Sevens as well, and she's amazing. She's awesome. She's very quick, got awesome feet, and she's a great tackler. She's only a little thing, but she's quite strong. She definitely holds her own. Here's her with the ball now.
And got a lot of heart, which is, you know, one of the main things you need in playing league.
And when you are kind of do get the opportunity to talk to these girls, I guess, what's the main sort of thing you're stressing to the girls? I guess the first one is enjoy it, because you're not going to do well if you don't enjoy it. But what are the other sort of things that I guess you try and encourage in the girls?
I would say for young girls, you know, coming through the grades, that, you know, talent only gets you so far and hard work gets you even further. So, you know, if you have the effort to work hard, you're willing to work hard and, you know, do your extras and being accountable, you know, you really can achieve whatever you set your mind to. So, I mean, yeah, enjoying footy's, you know, obviously the main thing, because if you're not enjoying it, you know, why are you doing it? But, you know, from what we've seen out here on the field, these girls look like they're having a ball, and just, yeah, absolutely loving being out there in the mud and amongst each other.
And for you, Maddie, what's the main sort of things that you think are important to pass on to girls at this age, kind of 16, 15-year-olds?
Definitely, as you said, having fun, and as Georgia said, talent's only going to take you so far. So it's important for these girls, and they do turn up to training. I mean, sometimes, I hate to admit it, but they've got more girls at training than we do sometimes. And it's awesome. They're out there and they're in the pouring rain. They're turning up day in, day out, and I think it's really showing. They've really improved throughout the year.
And one thing you do notice with the women's game is a lot of the time girls are debuting for like premier senior teams at 16 years of age. Would you expect that within the next kind of year we'll see some of these girls coming into your top side, Georgia?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think this is a great you know, building point for them. You know, they can be playing within their age group, getting, you know, used to kind of the contact, the physicality of the game, so that, you know, when they hit that age of 18 and they've gotten a little bit bigger and stronger, you know, they are ready to make that adjustment up to the women's game. You know, we do have some young girls, you know, just turned 18 that are playing the women's game and doing amazing. So, you know, if they keep at it, I'm sure, you know, they'll be amongst us in the Roses team in a couple of years.
I'm just seeing a really nice try out there in the right-hand corner. The Richmond girls just starting to show some really nice skills here. Some little darts out of dummy half and just running the Otara side a little bit ragged right now. So a nice try in the corner there for Richmond, which is going to double their advantage with kicks to come. If you didn't know, of course, this is nine-a-side rugby league for the girls, and the nines in the last few years has really become, I guess, an avenue to try and get people interested in the game. We've seen the NRL Auckland nines really kick on. We've got the ethnic nines in Auckland as well, so it's a really good kind of pathway into footy. And I guess, Maddie, the big one with nines is, I guess, the contact can tend to be a little bit less extreme, and those smaller skillful players can kind of show what they've got a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. It is. It's a chance for the smaller girls, may you say, to get out there and show what they've got. Yeah, with it being less contact, I think it does attract a lot of girls, because, man, I have seen some massive hits throughout the last couple of years playing for the Richmond girls. Sometimes I'm quite thankful that I play on the wing, to be honest.
And I guess that has really been a feature of some of the, particularly at the nines, people always talk about some of the massive hits. Georgia, you train with these girls a lot and do kind of opposed sessions. Who's the best hitter in the Kiwi Ferns?
Oh, there's a couple. I'd say WIL. You know, she's not only a great hitter, but you know, she's just a great player overall. But you know, there are a few girls. I think no matter what the size, the physicality of the Kiwi Ferns team is kind of one of our strengths. So, yeah, I would be mindful of who you watch at World Cup, because I'm sure those girls are going to come out firing.
I've seen Ko put on some mean hits too. Ko Rangi-Peters from Kura, she chucks on some massive hits.
And I guess playing against them at club, you know, sometimes you feel the impact of what they can do defensively, and yeah, would hate to end up on the wrong side of any of those girls.
And of course, a lot of the girls you play against at national level, well, you guys for Akarana, do any of the Kiwi Ferns girls ever kind of get into your nose? You wore any big shots in those games, Maddie?
Yeah, actually last year I was on the left shoulder of Tuila for one of those hits. That game that was played at Mount Smart Stadium, so I was thankful that it wasn't too hard. But yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to when we're playing against them, even at club level, we forget that we play Kiwi Ferns together, which is a cool thing, and everyone's just out there to do their best. So yeah, no one really cares who's opposite each other, they're just ready to smash each other.
Georgia, you must have a war story or two about wearing a hit from Kiwi Ferns teammates?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm generally paired up with a prop or two at training, and, you know, wrestling alone, even pummeling, which is, you know, a warm-up exercise and shouldn't hurt too much, can sometimes be pretty brutal. So, yeah, thankful that they're on my team. But, you know, even at club level, not just Kiwi Ferns players, but there are some big girls out there with some strong shoulders. And, yeah, I ate someone's boot before and it wasn't nice.
Love it. Now, as we see the Richmond girls again on the attack and just working down that right side again. The number 4 for Richmond showing some nice skills, a little bit of footwork, but Otara there scooping up the scraps. So we are entering the last 4 minutes of this one, 20-minute halves in the 9-a-side competition. And Richmond currently, as it stands, holding a nice little lead. So make a little adjustment in the ARL commentary studios, which are getting muddier by the second, probably not helped by my pacing back and forwards. Scorpions now pushing up towards halfway. As we mentioned, not long remaining in this one here. Richmond traditionally one of the powerhouses of the women's games, and you're going to see later on today when their team takes the field a number of Kiwi Ferns and fringe Kiwi Ferns, I guess, in that squad, coming up against the might of Manurewa, who have Serena Fiso at the back, or Serena Clark now I should say. 3-time New Zealand Women's Player of the Year, and probably the best player of the decade to put on a black jersey for the Kiwi Ferns. And always a player that seems to stand out when they take on Australia. She's always amongst the probably the better players on the field, and we are seeing a bit of a, I guess, a changing of the guard, Maddie, with some of the new girls like yourself coming in and the girls from Christchurch. How's that all going? I guess, you know, there's girls in that Kiwi Ferns team who have been there for like 15 years. So how's that kind of merging going in terms of bringing in the new girls and still respecting the older girls?
It's awesome. I'm lucky with C being in one of my potential positions, such an awesome player. I'm lucky. I'm learning from the best, and I think that's across the board. The girls that have been there for a long time, they're just willing to give everything and anything to the girls that are coming through, which I think is an awesome thing. We are very lucky. We've got some experience of the likes of Laws. She's been, I think this is going to be her 5th World Cup, she was saying, and then we've got people like myself and Georgia who are hoping to make a debut at the World Cup. So we're lucky. We've got a mix of experience and young girls coming through, but those older girls, they give nothing but help to any of us.
Okay. And just on Serena, you mentioned, you know, she's obviously a bit of a mentor to you as you come through, and potentially you're the next number 1 for the Kiwi Ferns. What are the main sort of things that you like about her game and that she's teaching you?
She is very awesome at picking holes and finding them. She's also awesome under the high balls. I don't think I've actually ever seen her drop one.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think I have. She's awesome, but no, she's awesome at the back. You can always hear her, and she definitely helps lead the team, obviously being captain as well. Yeah, she's amazing to be able to try and follow.
Excellent run there from Otara as we enter probably the final minute of this one here at Cornwall Park. And if you've just joined us, this is the Under-17 Girls Clash, part of our extravaganza today of Women in League action. Later on we're going to bring you the pennant game between Point Chevalier and the Manukau Magpies, and later on the feature match of the day between Richmond and Manurewa, which is going to be an excellent clash. And we've just highlighted one featuring a whole lot of Kiwi Ferns here. As you see, great carry from the Otara number 13. So the Scorpions now just starting to put a little bit of pressure on Richmond. Richmond have pretty well dominated the first part of this game, the first half. The kick in behind here. Looks like Richmond have got it well covered at the back, and the number 4 for Richmond's had a really good game. We do apologise for not being able to bring you all the names of the girls. The team lists coming in were a little bit unreliable, so a couple of the girls were not too sure on exactly the identification there, so rather than call them the wrong name, we'll just kind of commentate what we see in front of us as the siren goes in the background. And that will do us for half-time. So Richmond leading Otara 8-0. We are going to take a little break here, allow you to go off and get a coffee or a drink, something to eat, and give the ladies a chance to rest the voice box ahead of the second half here. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes' time as part of today's Women in League Day, brought to you live and free by the Auckland Rugby League. AucklandLeague.co.nz. Jump on the social media platforms, give it a share. Great day today to promote Women's Rugby League. So we'll see you in 5 minutes.